I'm from Alabama, and I'm proud of that. I grew up in a little small town called Guntersville. It's a little lake town on the southern part of the Tennessee River. And I had a good childhood. My mom is from a large family. She's number 11 out of 12 children. And most of my family are from Brindley Mountain, which is right next to Guntersville. And I grew up going to a little country church on the mountain called Brazier's Chapel, United Methodist Church. And I wouldn't trade anything for it, because my life was nice and simple and clean. I was a church boy. I grew up with my best friend Scott and my cousin Chris, and we used to play in the cemetery next to the church, and we used to take up the offering on Sundays. We used to go to Scott's house every Sunday after church and go run through the woods and swim in the pond and play in the barn. And when I think about my childhood, it's like a movie, because it was just so picture perfect and all-American and simple. And you know what happens? You grow up and life gets more complicated. You become a teenager and life goes a little bit crazy, trying to figure out who you are and where you belong, where you fit in. You become an adult and try to figure out, where am I going to go to college, what am I going to be, what am I going to do? And then you start making your way in the world, and you get married. You might have kids. I didn't have kids. I did get married. Didn't last. And for me, I took my status as a church kid and made it a career, because I became a minister. Went to Bible college, became a minister, got married, had the perfect life as a pastor with his wife. Not really. It wasn't perfect at all. It was just the opposite. But that's another story for another day. You grow up, you move on, you explore the world, you explore what life is about. And for me, it was about becoming a minister, and then that ending, marriage ending, and then suddenly you find yourself in a desert, trying to figure out where to go and what to do. So, life moves along and you figure it out, but it gets more complicated. And there's a lot to figure out once you get into your 30s. You've been living as an adult for a while, but then you start questioning a lot of things that you just took for granted and that were just kind of ingrained in you, and you start questioning and you start figuring out what you really believe and who you really are and what life really means. And you have to put those pieces together. and it's difficult, but you do. And then you reach your 40s, and you figured out a lot by this time. And then all you really want is the simple life that you knew as a kid.